Welcome to another exciting edition of the P&B Sports Show. I'm your host, Abel Sunday. Today's spotlight is on the Super Falcons, who are putting in the hard work in Morocco as they prepare to defend their African title. Joining us live from Port Harcourt to unpack the Falcons' preparation, analyze the team's tactics, assess the squad, and discuss the biggest talking point is one of our finest sports analysts, Tom. Stay with us as we dive into another action-packed edition of the P&B Sports Show. Grab your teacup because P&B Sports start now. No giggling, no distraction, just pure unfiltered sport action.
Diogo Dalot, he pulls from the men.
Make the P&B Sports Show part of your weekday routine.
Philogene in the penalty area, twisting and turning. He tries to flick it towards goal.
Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. Make the P&B Sports Show part of your weekday routine.
Into Osimhen.
30 minutes of breaking headlines, in-depth analysis, match preview, one explosive hour of fearless opinion, heated debate, and non-stop football conversation. Weekdays at 9 a.m., Saturdays at 1 p.m. Stay ahead of the game. No game. Welcome back. It's the P&B Sports Show, reaching live from the nation's capital. And of course, our insightful Jackson Keller just joined us as well, also from Port Harcourt. Jackson, good morning. How is Port Harcourt this morning?
The weather is bright and everything is moving smoothly. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here again.
And we have the sport Berlusconi that have been trying to hide his face from the screen for a very long time. How is Port Harcourt as well this morning?
Port Harcourt is amazing. We are just flying the flag of P&B all over Nigeria. It's fantastic.
Oh.
I'm so happy to be here.
Money too good though. Hell, Jesus. God when. Okay, Kenneth, before we dive into what we have for today, the Falcons and the preparation and what have you, can you give us a preview of what happened in the World Cup? Just give us the aftermath about the Spain, what come out of the Spain national team as a whole. Just give us in 2 minutes before we dive into what we have today.
All right. So while a lot of people were celebrating, I took time to check on the statistics, compared between the two games. And three things to point out. The last time Spain were champions, the last time Spain was champions, it took an extra card. It took an extra time and a red card before Spain could win the World Cup. Similar thing happened in 2010 and repeated itself here. And then again, before Spain could win the World Cup in 2010, it also took them a lot. But in 2026, it took them a draw, meaning they had to lose or draw one game to go undefeated in their other games. And then in 2010, comparing to this team, there were two young players in their team, and the two young players were similarly the best players in their positions. We had Sergio Busquets coming in at 21, and we had Joao Cancelo coming in as a midfielder for New Sociedad. Take now to Spain. We have Lamine Yamal at 19 years, and we have Falcon similarly at the same year. So, having settled down to debate the comparison between 2010 to 2026, we find I don't know whether to say a highly similar pattern to winning the World Cup. And the most important thing is that the player that won the player of the tournament in those times completed the highest passes, which is Rodri and Xavi. Xavi completed the highest passes in 2010 and Spain won the World Cup. Rodri completed the most passes in a single World Cup edition after breaking his World Cup, after breaking the former World Cup passes most completed. So those were the simple and little analogies I could pick from both sides winning the World Cup. And once again, congratulations to Espana and De La Fuente.
Thank you so much. The ever insightful Jackson Caleb. That was a very good analysis there that he brought down from the just concluded 2026 FIFA World Cup. Well, let's dive into the conversation today. We're talking about the WAFCON preparation and what will transpire on the 26th that the WAFCON will start, which is we know that the Super Falcons is the defending champion. But I'll start with you, Aroko. With the cancellation of the friendlies against Ghana and Tanzania, how much will the lack of competitive games affect Coach Justin Madugu's preparation for WAFCON and to defend the championship? I beg your pardon.
Defending the championship at this matches, it means a lot, especially against standout teams like the likes of Ghana and Tanzania, especially a team like the Ghanaian side. They have great players as well. Coach Justin Madugu. It's quite unfortunate that the coach won't have the luxury of testing the artillery or testing what they have. The Super Falcons. It's quite unfortunate. But I think when you look at it, you can see what happened, early on. You can see the likes of in 2024 when they played Morocco. You can see what happened when they won in the finals. And when you look at that WAFCON, you realize one thing that stood out, which is the fact that the Super Eagles, the Super Falcon side, is a side that they usually build momentum. In the matches, in the tournaments that they play, they do not really come out, hot from the start. They build momentum, they're able to hold their own. You might start seeing draws, So this is something that even if they are playing Ghana, even if they are playing Tanzania, even if they play Ghana and Tanzania, we are not really used, to them, playing hard from the beginning. But while to me it limits the match sharpness, I feel our girls are, elite pros. Madugo already, did extensive groundwork, by testing formations, especially during the 3-0 double header winner against the like of Senegal. So I think when you look at it, the lack of games, is a bump. But I think history just really shows us that the Falcons build momentum as any tournament progresses to put on.
Okay, well said. Let's Caleb. Looking at the players arrived in camp at different times, has that disrupted the team chemistry and tactical preparation? Assuming looking at Coach Justin Madugu, having these superstars not in the same goal at coming to camp earlier. Some of them because of FIFA rule to club side at 6 days before the tournament. That's when they can release their players. But looking at these girls coming in late, how do you think he can gel with these guys, these players, before the competition will kickstart on Sunday? Caleb, can you hear me?
Yes. So, just like I said, looking at this squad list, you can see that most of these players have played with each other at different competitions before. Even coming in from the previous AFCON, we see almost an entirely repeated list of same players with a few exceptions. Now, I think most of them already understand themselves, and especially how they link up with their positions on the pitch and their runs. So I think it does not really disrupt their team chemistry. However, it may disturb tactical operations, especially when it has to do with adaptation of certain players in different positions. So I think that is where we should be concerned. How can the coach now adapt to this? Now, when they arrive, they should give them with confidence, just like Tom said. The Nigerian female team are not the ones to actually start the competition as fire like that. So let's come in the competition, building momentum, taking it a match at a time. So I think Coach Justin should rather say, okay, let's try and relax our legs, do the general warm-up, and then let's get into the game and build momentum from our first match. So I think that's the best thing to go around that.
Of course, that is what they should do. But Smart Berlusconi, how big is the loss of Ashley Pantry, and can Demin and O'Halley provide enough defensive stability? Yeah.
Before I answer that question, I would like to add something from what my other opponents just said. When it comes to the Super Falcons, one thing that you should understand is that in the last 10 WAFCONs, the Super Falcons have never really had any strong, any strong 30 days camp with their foreign players. It has never happened. And I feel that is the reason that they've been having some problems So when you look at the like of Chiamaka and Jose Rasheedat Ajibade, even the likes of Postinachi or Ali, these are players that are used to that particular standard. Despite it not being right or being the standard that we should be looked at, I think that that's what they are used to doing. But yes, again, let's come back to the question that you already asked. When it comes to players like Ashley Country, when it comes to the athleticism that she brings, she plays model football. Forget the fact that that we say yes, the players that we have, they play with strength. She's a player that plays with a lot of strength, and she's extremely smart. So I think that that's something that we have to look into. But when you dive deeper, let's look at the fact that the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. It was, in my own opinion, it was an ironclad partnership. We saw a lot of veterans, and what's it called? We also see Dimei. We saw a lot of young proteges. We saw them keeping clean sheet against the Olympic champions, Canada and Ireland as well. So I think Dimei's youth and aggression, will complement for Ali's energy position, and country might not be really missed. But when you look at it, I think when you look at the players, when they are backed by players like Chiamaka and Dozie, they have more than enough defensive skill to nullify any elite African forward, in my own opinion. And I think that country might not be missed a lot. Yes, she will be missed for athleticism because of her pace, her speed, and her IQ of the ball and off the ball. But that's really missed because the players are standard for that.
Okay, well said. But it's time for us to go on a short break. But when we return, Caleb, you will tell us how important will the midfield trial of Tony and Jennifer Ochijeni and Christy Ochebe be in breaking down stubborn defense. But not going anywhere. We'll right back. When we come back, of course, the insightful Jason Caleb will tell us everything about that. No distraction, just pure unfiltered sport action.
Diogo Dallo, who calls for the men. That is outstanding!
Make the P&B Sports Show part of your weekday routine.
Philogene in the penalty area, twisting and turning. He tries to flick it towards goal.
Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. Make the P&B Sports Show part of your weekday routine.
Into Osimhen.
30 minutes of breaking headlines, in-depth analysis, match preview, and the stories every sport fan needs to know. And when Saturday arrives, we take things to another level. Get ready for heated debate and non-stop football conversation. Weekdays at 9 a.m., Saturdays at 1 p.m. Stay ahead of the game.
Bellingham, England coming again. It's Harry Kane and Bellingham.
Only on Politics and Business Television, where sports come alive. Welcome back. It's the P&B Sports Show, reaching live from the nation's capital, and of course, I've been joined by two brilliant analysts in Nigeria, the Sport Berlusconi and the ever insightful Jackson Caleb. But Jackson, before we went on break, I was asking you a question: how important will the midfield trial of Tony and Jennifer Ochijeni and Christy Ochebe? How important is it to breaking down stubborn defense in this tournament?
Looking at Jennifer Ochijeni and Christy Ochebe, particularly for me, I would on this show say that I'm one person who particularly enjoys the way Jennifer Ochijeni holds onto the ball and how she progresses with the ball. However, Christy Ochebe has the ability to cover a lot of ground. So looking at our midfield, and then not even talk of Tony Paye's distribution. So each of them actually has something that complements each other in that midfield. And moving forward, I think our coach might most likely want to adapt to a 4-2-3-1 because we saw him form up that formation in playing up with Senegal. We even saw Ajibade dropping down to as a 10. So I think he might roll with either of the two and bring up one as a fresh leg from the sub. But then again, I think their pairing goes a long way to help our attack and keep us on its smooth transition. Now, if we look at this female WAFCON, one of the things that enjoys from other teams like South Africa is their midfield. A team like South Africa, their midfielder I've forgotten one of, I think to Kukela, something like that. I can't really remember her name. I don't know if she's retired, but as at the last WAFCON, she was to play her last African international game. What she did in that number 10 role, I still can't forget. It was vital to South Africa as far as quarterfinals. But then again, this Jennifer Echegini, especially after coming in and playing the winning goal, I think the coach will be willing to bank more trust on her with Christy Uchebe and how they play for their team. I think he might be willing to combine that experience and going in against a team like Zambia. Our first game, how it starts, especially with that midfield, goes a long way to tell us how well we can play.
How well you can play indeed, and we hope that the Super Falcons were going to do us, in fact, give us what the Super Eagles couldn't give to us. But despite Berlusconi, can you say as Coach Madugo rely too much on experienced player, or should he have given more opportunities to young talents?
I think when you are talking about relying too much on experienced players, I think one thing that you should take note of is the fact that we have some of the best players in Africa. Especially when you are playing a team like the Zambian side, especially when we're playing them on the 1st of August. Playing a side like that, I will expect that we will actually play, with the experienced players rather than younger players. These younger players are players that you bring in from time to time so that they can get a feel of the tournament, and you can infuse them. You can see where their strength lies, and that's where the problem would have been solved for the friendly, where especially if we have played Ghana and Tanzania. So I feel that's where the issues would have been solved. But now, when you are looking at building a team long term, that's why I am amazed by what the Super Eagles are also doing, especially the likes of Chelsea, with the way they are building, and it's kind of fortunate for us the fact that we are looking at building both the Super Falcons and the Super Eagles long term, and we are not just thinking about the now, because we have players that are extremely talented. So my own advice to Justin Madugu would be that let the Super Falcons play these players, based on their performances in training. But you can never take experience away from these players. We have Unadozi, we have good players. We have players that have shown their talent time and time without numbers. We have players that have won the WAFCON not just once, not just twice. These are players that have shown what they can do on the pitch. They can handle the pressure of the pitch. They can handle the pressure of the WAFCON. They can handle the pressure of the tournament. And I think that is what we should look onto. Then we should be able to have players that can come in, the younger players that can come in, that can rest these players when the time comes. And if they are able to show with the little opportunity that they are being given that they can outperform some of these players, then why not? They can replace them over time. You can have matches that that okay, this team we're going to ride on them. You can say, okay, let's put these players in. Let's use them to rest the older players, to rest the players that that they might not be able to run for the full 90 minutes. Let's use them to rest them, because we know that they will be able to hold their own on the pitch. And I think that will be needed, especially in the group stage, and especially in the group C, with teams like Zambia included.
All right, with teams like Zambia included, Caleb, as we try to wrap up, are Zambia the biggest obstacle to Nigerian finishing top of Group C, or is their threat being exaggerated? But looking at the female football so far in Africa, I think it has improved a lot. Before now, we could beat Team 10-0, 7-0, but now we are even struggling. Looking at even the last finals, where we have to come back from 2 goals behind to beat Morocco. You understand? You remember that game vividly. We have to come down from 2 goals down to beat Morocco. That tells you that the African female football has grown immensely. But looking at this year's tournament, do you think we will have any obstacle? Do you think Zambia might just be one big obstacle for us to top Group C?
And definitely, I think Zambia is a very big obstacle. And the reason why I am particular about this Zambia team is because of the energy they play with. Now, most of female sides, they get to play with energy, especially when they know that, okay, they are not so blessed with technical players. And if you watch when they play, they hold the ball from the wide angle. They have this. I'm so sorry that I'm not getting their names right, but they have this left finger of the girl that whenever she gets the ball, she's going down.
Banda.
Thank you. She doesn't turn back. She's going direct. She's coming at you. She's trying to take those shots, trying to make space for herself. Even her position is trying to make. So I think that alone will cause some balance shift, especially in our defense. That is why I said the way Coach Justin will set up his team goes a long way to determine how well we can play, especially with a team like Zambia. Who, remember, we're supposed to play this friendly and we could well. But if they can capture a point against us, or if unfortunately we get a win against us, that would be a confidence booster to them. And that was something that will cause scrutiny on our own face. So I think this team actually has a point to play with. The match between Nigeria and Zambia is going to be a very big eyebrows, something that we're going to look out for, and something that's going to raise a lot of questions in this tournament. But however, I think Nigeria, with the level of experienced players we have, we should be able to cause a bit of, not really upset, but we should be able to calm the storm. We should be able to prove to everyone that, okay, yes, despite all the songs and looks everywhere, we have what it takes to maintain and defend our WAFCON titles.
All right, to have what it takes to maintain and defend our WAFCON title. This is, and Sport Berlusconi, please, in 30 seconds. Can the Super Falcons handle the pressure of defending their AFCON crown while also chasing World Cup qualification? You know, if you get to the semi-finals, of course, you qualify for the World Cup, for the female World Cup. But looking at we winning it for the 10th time, winning for 10 times rather, we are going for the 11th trophy. But do you think the pressure will be too much for us to handle? Please, in 30 seconds, as we wrap up.
I don't think the pressure will be too much for us to handle. I think we have players that have a lot of experiences. Depending on how they start the WAFCON, then we will know if they can handle the pressure. Come on, I'm talking about the Zambian side. The Zambian side that we beat 5-0 in the last WAFCON. This is a side that we should meet. Despite the fact that, yes, they've been portraying top players, they've been out of end of BSL stars like Baba Banda and I think Richard Kudanji. I think if we can take on the Zambian side, it will go a long way to tell us that we can win the WAFCON. And I expect not